All right, so tonight we are going to be talking about the Bibury multi-tool 22-in-1, and I have been carrying this now for a little bit over a week off and on, and I've got some more ideas about the positives and the negatives of this tool. Now, a lot of this tool is going to come down to about three different things: weight, price, and options. So let's go ahead and talk about weight first, then we'll talk about price, and then we'll talk about the options and the positives and the negatives. So first of all, weight. Just to put it in perspective, the Leatherman Signal, which this definitely takes some design cues from, weighs in at 7.6 ounces. The Leatherman Wave will come in at 8.3 ounces. Now, I don't have a pocket clip on this one. And then the Bibury 22-in-1 will come in at 9.6 ounces. So as far as weight, just so you're not completely shocked if you don't have one and you get one, it is going to be a heavier tool. It is going to feel more like a larger tool like the SOG Power Access Assist, which is around 10 ounces. So it's definitely not going to be a Leatherman Signal, but it's going to be in between the Wave and the Leatherman Surge. It's going to be in between the Leatherman Wave and the Surge as far as weight. So just so you're familiar with that. Now, as you can see at the bottom, it is going to have definitely some cues from the Leatherman Signal. So that's why we're sort of comparing the weight between the two. Now let's talk about price. So the Bibury 22-in-1 right now is going for $45, but you can get it $8 off. So it is going to be obviously a lot cheaper right now. Eventually it may go up to $45, but even at $45, essentially it's going to be the price of a Leatherman Squirt. So if I had to choose between a Leatherman Squirt, this is going to be a special electrician model, but let's say the normal model and this, what I was going to take on a camping trip, well, I'd probably take this just because of all the options and so forth. So I think that's important when we put this in perspective. The price, Bibury isn't charging us $100. They're not charging us $80 or $130, whatever Leatherman is right now for these tools. So Bibury is charging us the same price as this. So keep that in mind. Now people will say, but it doesn't have the same warranty, and that is correct. So that's something else to keep in mind. This is essentially something I would assume that you have to, I actually haven't looked into the warranty that much, but it's probably a limited warranty. So that's something to factor in as well. All right, so let's look into functions. That's going to be the third and perhaps the most important part of this talk. And let's get the negatives out of the way. So I've been reading your comments about the first video where I just did a first look on this multi-tool, and there has been, I think, 4 main areas where people have said they did not like about this tool. So first of all is going to be the glass breaker. Now, the Leatherman Signal does not have the glass breaker, and maybe that's why they don't, because it can be a sharp point, especially when it sits like this in your pocket. So for instance, I would sit in my pocket, I guess, a lot of times like this, and then reach for it, and then my thumb is sort of scraping right against that glass breaker. Now, someone mentioned they would just maybe take an angle grinder, grind it off. I guess you could do that if it becomes too bad. There's probably some other solutions as well, but that is something that might bother some people. Now, the second thing people mentioned was that it has, and when you open the handles, it's just sort of natural to sort of grip right there. And then that does sort of dig into your palm as well. So you actually have to sort of change the way you open this multi-tool. So again, keep that in mind. It's just something a little bit different. So someone mentioned that they have stiff handles. Now, I have talked about Leatherman's pliers, that their handles are stiff, and different people have commented, well, that's essentially your fault. You just haven't put enough oil on them. You haven't worked them in. So I guess when it comes to Bibury, I would say Leatherman has the same issue to some extent. So without, this hasn't there's not been a lot of feedback on this after years or months of use. So until there is, I'm not sure that that's a huge issue, but just keep that in mind. Now, the third issue people have found, which I found as well in mine, is that the file does seem to rub against the frame of the multi-tool. So you can sort of even here, it just seems to be tightened or fitted to such an extent that that diamond file coating is just sort of rubbing against the frame. Now, you probably could loosen it up. I'm not sure what that would do with the pliers as well, but keep that in mind. And then the last thing is the scissors. Some people have mentioned that the scissors, the spring didn't work right. And some of that may come down to sometimes these scissors are a little bit hard to get used to. I know they were for me. I have pulled them out on several of my multi-tools, and then they've just been almost like fishy like this, where the spring didn't seem to work. It seemed like it was broken. I mean, you have it all the way out, right? Well, wrong, you don't. So you have to wait till it snaps into place, and then the spring works. So I don't know if that was the issue, but it could be someone actually did get a ruined pair of springs, but keep that in mind. All right, so the positives. Well, the positives about this tool are that it is unique and that it is a hybrid Leatherman wave signal, and that is pretty neat. A lot of people have wanted Leatherman to make hybrid multi-tools, and it seems like Bibury is actually listening to maybe several customers, and they're actually trying to come out with some innovative stuff that isn't exactly a copy of Leatherman, but sort of. And I'll let you decide whether that's ethical or not. And then they do have the pocket clip that is pretty much always included in most of these tools, which is really nice to see. I love pocket clips on the multi-tools. I really like that, again, they have the full-size ferro rod on the outside and the whistle. That's pretty neat. And then again, it is nice that they do have that hammer point. So that hammer face right here, I do like that. I'm not a fan of the bit driver right here. And we don't have that 1/4-inch bit driver that a lot of the other Biburys have. So you are going to be missing that. So that is, it's a negative or positive depending on how you look at it. So the inside tools, for those of you who have not seen the other video where I review this, is actually a can opener with the wire stripping notch, the micro screwdriver, the large screwdriver, the awl. Now today I tried to use this micro screwdriver, and like Leatherman, Gerber, SOG, you have to be very careful with micro drivers. I twisted it very easily. It's got a very easily to break point right here. And so only use that on small tasks that do not require a lot of torque, or you will bend it. I had to bend it back in place, or, worse, break it. So there's no other tools on the inside of this handle because we've got the hammer and so forth. We've got the whistle, the ferro rod, and then we had the combo blade knife, which I actually like because sometimes I can use that to strip wire. And then we do have the saw on this side, which seems to be a fairly aggressive saw as well. So overall, this is a really good tool for the price. I mean, when it comes in around, what, $35 to $40 right now, I mean, this is pretty amazing, all that you get for the price. But keep in mind those negatives, and you can weigh them and see whether you still want this tool or not. I still am very glad I bought it. I do not regret it. Super happy to add this to my collection. And then on some of those camping trips where I might not want to risk losing a signal, where I'm just going maybe on a picnic or something, this is definitely a multi-tool I may take along for something like that. All right, hope this helps. We'll see you in the next video.